rebels are not afraid to tread in dangerous waters,
Sure.
including picking, let's say, for example, a video that is as old as 10 or 20 years old, or a photo, and generating AI videos and photos and throwing them out there for you to deal with it. What happens is that if you're not careful, if you don't invest massively, the damage is irreversible. And it is not their responsibility to fix it. You find yourself in boiling water.
So what I don't...
This is what is happening in Eastern DRC. People are dying.
People are dying. That's
right.
That's a fact.
Yeah, hundreds of people are dying because of that hate speech propagation. And it went to extent where now they expanded it to hit Rwanda. The damage DRC has caused to Rwanda, it will take us too long to fix. Too long to fix. And the price, I don't know whether we can even place a certain tag. It's massive. It's massive.
What would it take?
I don't think there is anything that would come close to my mind.
So,
well,
have
like I told you, there are things that are supposed to be done. Is either overwhelm the hate speech with testimonies, fact-checking, testimonies, storytellers, but you must invest massively, possibly 3, 4, 5 times bigger than that.
But I think I don't think that if you have facts on your hands and you debunk all the information, I mean
that's not how the world works today these days.
Why I'm saying this, seriously, let's be fair to each other. It is very hard to fight back someone who has invested heavily like that. Like what Kisekedi has done.
It is hard, but it is doable.
It is doable.
You attempt. You can't, like I told you earlier.
Of course, you can't just let things go. Eh?
The easiest weapon that haters or hate speech propagators use, that they capitalize on, is your silence.
Of course. I'm not saying you should use silence.
If they come up with a technique of propagating certain falsehoods that look almost real, that it becomes overwhelming. You start now scratching your head, figuring out, how do I address this? The longer you take, that's how the misinformation spreads. By the time you come, if they have reached 100 million people, for you to achieve the same target, you must possibly use 4 or 5 times the resources, and it will take longer. Sometimes you won't even delete
but at
the
some
information.
point, I don't think
competing
for numbers might be the reason. Might be the solution. Competing for numbers.
You know the phrase "first come, first serve."
Definitely, I know.
So whoever puts information out there
fast wins more numbers than you.
Exactly. So by the time you come back to fact check, to cross, to dismantle.
Now you see, you are coming back to me, because I said, for me, if I was the one to be given a chance to manage something of that kind, my priority would be, let's go back in marketing. Let's say if your company is high.
It's not as easy as you might think. Let me tell you. Sometimes the more positive information you put out there, this is how the world works. They start becoming skeptical. Yeah. Now you trigger the haters or the negativists to say, oh, look at these guys. They start mocking your information. The thing is, the nature of human beings is that we love bad news.
Of course, bad news
Unfortunately,
is what
we
is
love
news.
bad
Most
news.
people, that's what they think. And
But it doesn't take away the fact that good news sometimes can overwhelm bad news. So
but
this is a science. It's a technique. It's an art.
we've been hit hard on different occasions, and when I look at it, for me, I've not seen us really responding so massively.
So
Like
what have you done personally, you as an individual?
as an individual, of course, I respond with a fact. If I see,
Have you like deliberately made this an activity on a daily basis, looking out for the rebels spreading bad news, negative news, hate speech, and going after them? Have you?
going after them,
Yeah.
it's not solely what I have to do as a job, but of course I do it when I have time.
You know,
I can't.
the interesting part of these characters, they don't get tired.
They're paid.
Not even when they're not. For them, it's passion.
No, some people
They are
are
passionate
some
about
people
it.
are on a big payroll to be
Yes,
stupid.
that's correct. But there are others who they are inherently 24 hours.
No, you look at someone who
throwing out all the dirt.
No, you look at someone who consumes
You get what
another
I'm
person
saying?
completely. I understand. People who are not
There are
really
human
there
beings out there who are inherently negative, hostile, ideologically bankrupt, inhumane. That's what they do. They feast on you, on your emotions. They are happy when you're angry, when you're sad, when you're upset, and they feast on it. They work 24 hours without pay.
Okay,
Unfortunately, that's true.
that's true.
Yeah, that's what is
So,
out there.
The only solution for us to debunk is to
There are
resort to
people
that.
who wake up in the morning, for example, they go on Twitter and they're looking for bad news to spread. They want to know what is out there. There are those who wake up in the morning and spend hours.
Researching on what to.
Yeah, they even read books to figure out something bad against you.
There are some people who hate you with passion.
Yes, yes. Inherently.
Yeah, I've seen so many. Who hate
Now,
this country with passion.
When you're dealing with those kind of characters, you just know in their head they are naturally anarchists. No? That's number one. Number two, they lack empathy. They are hostile. Huh? They don't wish you to breathe the next day. When you're dealing with those kind of characters, you must employ 4 or 5 times effort.
What is missing?
It's a deliberate decision. I mean, we need more effort. We need more resources. We need to be very aggressive against these kind of characters. Very aggressive.
But I think that what do you
They
think?
have to lose. Put it in your mind. I mean, we must mobilize the public that these people have to lose. This is a battle we have to fight. They have to lose. Once you lock it into your mind, they also get to know that they have to lose. And put in resources. Because the damage it causes without employing resources, like I told you, it's irreversible. It's deadly.
But seriously, Magnus, I usually...
It's an issue of national security, by the way.
Of course.
Because it affects so many things. It affects the
because
bloodline of the country.
when you spread disinformation and, lies, someone who is not informed about that will consume it the way it is and will take it like that. And that means that even people inside the country who are not informed about that, they will think this is the truth. So you're not creating havoc outside of the country. Actually, you're creating it inside.
Over the past 14 days, Tshisekedi and his allies in Eastern DRC, for example, just past 2 weeks, they have killed close to over 100 people, 500.
A big number, man.
In northern Kivu, southern Kivu, in Ituri, in close to Minembwe and Uvira, Southern Kivu. Have you seen it on the screens anywhere? On CNN, on BBC, on Al Jazeera, even in the region. In the region. Look at all the media houses in the region.
They're paid heavily.
No, not only that.
What is it?
Because looking out for the decision to dismantle, to combat hate speech and falsehood propagation is sometimes a burden of a state. The state has to take the lead, right? When the state takes the lead to misinform, then others follow.
Yeah, definitely.
So if DRC has deliberately
Decided to
decided to mislead the world that whatever soul that is lost on a daily basis is the responsibility of, let's say, M23, and sometimes they add Rwanda. Do you know, it is now the responsibility of Rwanda, it's the responsibility of M23 to dismantle that falsehood. Right? Of course, with the international community, but you can't bank on or count on international community, because
You cannot.
History shows us how they have abandoned us.
100%.
And not only in Rwanda. See what will happen in Middle East, what happened in Yugoslavia, what happened in the US in 2001. It's a responsibility of the state.
So that's why I'm asking, what should we do here?
When I say it's a responsibility of the state,
So the state is not,
it should take the lead.
to your perspective.
You are expecting a small guy, Magnus, with his Tarifa or other platforms or other media houses here to take the lead. There is so much they can do. The rest is the responsibility of the state, is to figure out which platforms are available to use to dismantle this deadly virus moving around.
That brings me to this. Why? I want to ask you this question. Why do we prioritize international media for debunking information? For debunking information, or maybe for sharing our facts to people we know 100% that they are not going to put those facts into their writings.
There are very many dimensions there.
Because let me finish. If I go out there and say, my name is Arafat, I host a podcast, the Uncharted Conversation, and I want to have an interview with you about ABCD to debunk this exactly information. Do you think I will easily be given a platform?
Yeah. It depends on who is responsible for that kind of assignment. Whose responsibility is it? If their scope of work is limited, then unfortunately the answer will be no.
No.
Did you get my point? My point is they are supposed to widen the scope. Domestic, regional, international. Right? Because every platform has a following. But if the handlers, or those who are responsible for, this kind of assignment, have a limited scope, they won't do that. So the achievement will be limited.
So you rather go for someone who is not even going to write what you're going to
You
put
don't
out.
get my point. The handlers, or those who are responsible for deploying whatever resources available at their disposal to dismantle hate speech, propaganda, and misinformation. If these people are limited in terms of scope, domestically, regionally, and globally, then the effect or the results are going to be limited. But sometimes they also can be in a position where they don't have as much resources as possible. Thirdly, their story might not be selling. Fourth point, it's a world of man eat man. If your story doesn't serve the interest of the rest of the world, I'm sorry to say, even when you're screaming on top of your head, no one will listen. That's the world we live in today.
But are you aware that most of the misinformation that is written by especially the international media, the Western media, mostly, do you know that they go pick sentences on different platforms of these haters or these people spreading the hate speech? Sometimes these people, they don't even interview people.
Yeah, I mean,
They just pick around.
Look.
And that's why I'm saying, if you have your local, if you have local media.
I just told you a few minutes ago that if your story doesn't serve the interests of the rest of the world, I'm sorry to say,
no one is going to read it.
no one cares. So let's say, for example, if the Minister of Foreign Affairs posts something on his Twitter account, right? And the journalist in the newsroom or someone goes on Twitter, uses Grok or ChatGPT to generate a tweet or a story and types in the Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs. There's a possibility of having 3 names. Whose responsibility do you think it is to fact check? Especially when someone doesn't care, just wants to put a story out there. You find that the story will come, the response will come with Dr. Biruta instead of Nduwonjire.
Why?
That's the information out there that has been fed into
the AI.
To the AI. Meaning, the other warriors I was telling you, it's the responsibility of the state, right? To feed what you call a digital footprint. A digital footprint is, a footprint, right? The more the footprints you have out there, the more visible you are, the more the story you are. Whoever is trying to search, the results that come out, the algorithms, depends on how much information has been fed.
So, Magnus, we are talking about Rwanda's digital warriors. And we are not just speaking about the warriors in Rwanda, but we are speaking about all the warriors, on internet that represents their governments or even different agendas. But now, what would be the take home for someone listening to the Uncharted Conversations about this, and how should it be handled in particular for Rwanda?
So, in academia, the scope is wide. You have researchers, you have professors, you have authors. The scope is wide. So you mobilize the public in that domain to play their role. Do research, publish, educate, engage in very robust debate and forums, write books, dismantle all these information out there.
With written facts.
Yes, and then you have media. Media, very big tool, important tool. Media has to be engaged, both domestic and globally. For at some point, you have to invest in a lot of resources. I mean, traditional media is a public good, was a public good. The way you consume electricity, oxygen, the road, all that, water. But today, media is a different landscape. It's largely owned by private people, investors or owners. It's not a public good anymore. Meaning, and there is also erosion of morality all over the world. People are greedy. They care about money, what you bring on the table. You don't expect every media house to really have that line of thinking, an editorial line that focuses on public interest than their own interest. So you will have to find a way of investing. Same way I told you what Sked is doing. Is investing in media to propagate a falsehood.
As you said, most media houses are owned by people who are looking for money, profit-oriented.
And then you have to have proper and really solid laws.
But also, don't forget, you have
with,
back to media, you also have to use the national media to do their job.
Yes.
Because it's...
It is true. So, I mean, that was one of the takeaways I was there's also diplomacy. We didn't talk about this, but diplomacy is important. Extremely important.
How you play your games.
Especially when you're dealing with with a global stage behind the scene. You must to up your game. I think Rwanda is good at diplomacy. Previously, we were good at media and global engagement, but I think we kind of I can't say we backtracked, but I think...
Why? I mean, what do you... who to blame for that? What do you blame that for?
It's the handlers. I mean, sometimes you find that maybe our approach, our dimension, and our scope of... things change. Things change.
So we need to style up?
Pull up our socks.
Because now when you... actually, by virtue of look, a lot of misinformation is ongoing.
My friend,
right
I told
now.
you when you're dealing with propagandists and hate speech propagators, you're dealing with someone who is using whatever tool is at their disposal. And on top of that, when they're investing a huge amount of money. But in domestically speaking, when you're dealing with hate speech propagators who are possibly in the diaspora and outside the country, because most of those who are in the country know the law will catch up with them. So those who are out, they capitalize on the fact that they are operating outside your jurisdiction, much as the laws are now becoming, implemented in some other countries, because a law against genocide and hate is now...
You can face the judgment even far from home.
Yes, UN Convention. Beyond that, it is really complicated. But I want to conclude on one key point. Much as the damage is huge and almost irreversible, at some point, the villain will have their space. At
So-
some point.
To your opinion, you think the damage is irreversible?
It is close to that. Because you imagine the whole world knows about two versions of the story. When it comes to hate speech targeting a particular group of people and propagating double genocide, right? Tribalism, ethnicity.
Speaking to the general population, what should a Rwandan who is not on the payroll, who is not a handler, do right now? Because
Well, you're talking about victims. You're talking about descendants of victims. You're talking about people who have empathy, sympathy. You have good friends across the world. You have logical people. May not be concerned, but they are logical. They are human beings. They know this is wrong, this is bad, this is dangerous. It will spread. What the world knows so far today is that don't ignore what is happening in another geographical setting. Domestically, bad people, they learn, they observe, they pick a leaf. They will use similar techniques and tactics against you. So don't ignore what is happening on the other side of the world. You learn lessons and you avoid, you combat ahead of time. In the world we're living in today, enemies don't come with only bullets. That's why we're talking about digital warriors and digital rebels. Not all rebels use guns. They use a pen, they use digital platforms. They can inflict as much damage as someone who has a bullet.
so advise someone who is really passionate about debunking false information on how to get facts.
How to get facts.
Let's say someone
There are platforms that you can trust. You can have a government website. You can have individuals who are out there who are known as experts in this particular
who you can
field.
refer to.
Yeah, there are government communication. There is also people you know. I mean, if you wanted to find out about what's happening in Eastern DRC, for example, you think it's difficult for you to find someone reliable to give you
Might
facts?
not be difficult for
No,
me
it's
because
not.
I know how to find information.
Yes.
But not all Rwandans know that.
I don't think so. If someone wanted to find out the facts, and the intention is to find out facts, it's easy to do that.
So as we close up, what is it that you would want to stress out before we conclude our conversation of today as we head to...
Well, as human beings, I think one has to sit back and say, how do I feel about what's happening to the other side of the world? Is it worth it to have another human being suffering and going through miserable experiences? What do you gain? What do you benefit when someone is suffering? You're in Europe, you're in America, you're in Asia, and you wish someone else in another part of the world to suffer. I think human beings need to come back to their senses. Yeah. Humanity is important. Empathy is important. I mean, you can't go back home to bed and sleep and feel comfortable that someone else is suffering. It's none of your business. No. That's not the kind of world we want our kids to inherit.
Definitely.
No.
Definitely.
I don't think so.
No.
Put yourself in their shoes. Would we be happier if we inherited a hostile world more than it is today? Of course, the answer is no.
No.
So if we want our kids, our descendants to inherit a safer, peaceful, and harmonious world, we have to play a role today to avoid such kind of catastrophic experiences. Yeah.
So to all Rwandans who are listening to the Uncharted Conversation and who have actually watched our first episode, you've heard it. The ball is rolling. You take your time, take all the tools you have, and fight back, because no one is going to fight for you, because you're fighting for your future. You're fighting for your next generation that is going to be living in this country. And of course, you've heard it. The people who are against us are really investing heavily. So we need to invest what we have, and what we have is the information and the facts. So see you next time. That was it for today. Bye for now.